Alright guys, in today's video we're going to be looking a little closer at correlation. Specifically, we're going to be looking at something we call the correlation coefficient R. Now R is a calculated value. We're not going to get too deep into where it's calculated from. We're going to use the calculator to do most of those calculations. What we're worried about is interpreting what this R value actually means. Now you notice I have this number line here from -1 to 1. That's because the R value can go anywhere from a value of -1 up to a value of +1. Now, anything close to 0, we're going to say that has no correlation. Okay? That means that we wouldn't see these lined up at all, as you see in the graph below. They're all kind of just scattered all over the place. Okay? Now, the closer we get to 1, we're looking at a strong positive correlation, getting close to 1. Getting close to -1, we're going to look at a strong negative correlation down towards that direction. Now, we know the positive and negative, we know strong and weak correlation, but now we have a number to sort of signify what that really means. Now, when we're looking at these correlations, let's say we have a positive correlation. Well, with a positive correlation, we can say as X increases, Y tends to increase. Okay? We don't say Y definitely increases, we say Y tends to, because being that it's an estimate with the linear regression, we don't use the word that it definitely increases, we use the word that it tends to. Alright? Well, let's look at an example here. Now, I'm not going to go through actually calculating the regression because hopefully at this point you're comfortable doing that on the calculator. But if I did punch this in the calculator, I would get an equation similar to this. Y equals -533x plus 1,080,200. Okay? Now, another value that I'm going to get spit out on the calculator is going to be the correlation coefficient. Well, the correlation coefficient here would be a -0.97. Okay? Now the type of correlation here, well, I can see that this is a negative correlation. Is the correlation strong? I would say yes, because it's close to -1. Alright? Now if I wanted to use the equation to predict the sales in 2013, I've given you a couple different ways to do that. You could just trace the line on the graph. You can also just simply do Y equals, and then instead of X, we're going to plug in the value of the year we're looking for. In this case is 2013. And then we just calculate that out on our calculator to get our answer. Alright, let's look at C here. Again, I'm not going to go through getting the equation. We should be able to do that on the calculator at this point. Y equals 0.24x minus 468.13 is what we would get on the calculator. Our correlation coefficient that we could also get on the calculator is a 0.71. Okay. The type of correlation here, well, it's a positive because we have a positive R value. All right. Is the correlation strong? I'm still going to say this is yes, okay, because it's close to +1. All right, we'll talk a little more about what that exact numbers need to be here in just a minute. Now, if we want to use this equation, again, this is something we've been doing, so hopefully you're good doing this. You're just going to plug in the value of 2013 that we're looking for into our equation, and use the calculator to get our answer there. All right, so let's look at some of these graphs on this next page. All right, so on this number line, let's shade the possible values of the correlation coefficient. Well, the correlation coefficient can go anywhere from -1 to 1. So our possible values here are going to be anywhere from -1 to 1. Now we're looking for a strong positive correlation. A strong positive correlation is actually going to start around 0.7 to a 0.1. Anything that falls in that range would be a strong positive. All right. A weak positive. Now the weak positive is usually going to be around 0.3 to about 0. Okay? That's going to be our weak positive. Now, anything that kind of falls between those would be just kind of a moderate positive, just a average positive correlation. All right? So a strong negative. Well, now a strong negative correlation, we're still going to use that value of 0.7, but we're going to use negative 0.7. So anything from negative 1 to negative 0.7 is going to be a strong negative. Now a weak negative correlation, it's still going to be on the negative side, but it's going to be anything between about a 0 and a negative 0.3. That's our weak negative. Now, anything that lies between the 0.7 and the 0.3 on the negative side, again, that'd be a moderate negative correlation.